Hey guys, welcome back to Program with Pags. Kind of an interesting episode today. This is talking about this application and how it almost landed me a senior front end position at YETI. Would have been so cool. Unfortunately, heard back the news that I didn't get it, but it was so close. It was such a good interview, and I really thought I was gonna. Like I left the interview in 20 minutes. And amazing team chemistry, amazing going over everything. I thought I walked away. Like I remember thinking like, did I really just land that? Because it was the same exact feeling I had leaving Babson, where with Babson, I knew, okay, no, that's coming my way. Yeah, just amazing team spirit, amazing chemistry, crushing the interview as best I can. And I'll talk about the Babson interview and show the offer letter and what that process looked like in another episode. But yeah, let me just talk about Team Syncer for a sec and go over it and, talk about the application and where it stands kind of today. Obviously, there's things that I'm going to be integrating on and implementing on in pushing forward. But this is the landing page for right now. It's just a simple, hey, let's get logged in, right? So I can go ahead and sign out. And you'll see these kind of shimmering buttons. We have a little mouse tracker with the 3D model. But we could sign in or sign up. It's going to take us to our clerk provider. So I can sign in with a federated identity, which I'm going to do. So I'll click ryanpaglione@gmail.com. So it's just a simple flow. And then we have access to this user. Obviously, we see some errors, kind of having a fetching issue with the user ID. Let me just pop this out. Sometimes it doesn't work for some reason, fetching the user. You can see it's still loading the user data. It should already be there. Sometimes just need a little refresh. Let's see, it looks like that did fetch the user data. Maybe not. Okay, well, let me try it one more time. Let's log out, log back in, and try a different user, see if that'll fix our problem. But I talked with my great buddy Chester. He's a talented staff engineer, and I've name dropped him like 50 times in the Code Chronicles series. Boom. Okay, so we have the user identity now, and we should have the information associated to this project. It shows us the tasks that have been done and the project completion, the categories, etc. Kind of the backlog is one component I'm working on. We have our notification system as well. Pags created project AAA 1 week ago, and then we can choose our projects here. But I did talk with Chester. I'm going to make this a public project here soon, where it's going to be usable for you guys, free to sign up and free to use. The goal here is just to literally build a project management solution that I'm going to use. And the things I need to do before making it totally public is just make sure my security is a little bit tighter. So I talked with Chester. He's a staff engineer at Babson, and he's really talented. So he gave me a great conversation last night on some approaches and things I can do. But let's look at this. The Kanban page, of course, we've seen this kind of evolve over since Code Chronicles episode 1 and 2 early on, where we can add new tasks. So I have a new project that I'll be working on with another buddy of mine as well. He's a data analyst, and we're scrapping together some ideas, some UI UXs. Very excited for that project. But I'll put a new task, right? Like build UI UX, and I'll put it in a medium priority. We'll call it the W category, and I'll put it into do. So this is actually something I'll need to do for this project. Obviously, I need to work on some of the reactivity. So that's kind of something I could probably list here as well. But we should get all that again. So there's a few bugs. You can see that the user interface is really clean. So user data, that's kind of one bug that I'm dealing with. The reactivity on some of this stuff is another bug I'm dealing with. But I'm using great hooks for transitions. You can see there's the team members tab. I want to be able to invite team members so multiple people can use this. Gosh, but that is so irritating. I really need to figure out that user data issue. But yeah, so let me talk about the interview with YETI a little bit. And just it was a great interview. They had asked me a ton of questions on React. Ton of hooks to what state management libraries I've used, obviously Redux, Recoil, Zustand, and even functional components or building my own state management libraries. The interview was going great. Like I walked into it so prepped, so mentally prepared. It was obviously on React, and that's kind of where I started with front-end development was on React. So that's kind of my bread and butter. And I was just like navigating these questions like a pro, like just doing so well. You know, they're asking about multi-language models and things that I've done with Babson. So I was talking about my capillary collection experience at Babson and the complexity around some of the systems we built there. Gosh, that is so irritating, just this user data thing. So I'll have to fix that, but navigated that and then talked just very vaguely about cloud architecture stuff, but it was a front-end dominant interview. So they really just wanted to ask about, you know, all of my React experience, the hooks, custom hooks, any third-party integrations. As I mentioned, state management. I could probably pull up a list of questions even. Let me see. Yeah, let me pull it up. But it was such just a unique experience for me because it's YETI, you know, like that's such a cool company and a great group of people. I didn't feel too pressured in the interview. It was so funny too. I started the interview with a glass of wine in hand, or a glass of water, but in a wine glass. And obviously, you know, in a professional setting, that's like, yeah, are you seriously drinking right? Like it was like so much tension. But then I like cracked a joke about it and told him how I bought this AquaTrue, and it was hilarious. It was just so funny. Yeah, so it was just overall really fun experience from like the get-go to the very end. And I was being very genuine when there was answers I didn't know. I would just tell them, yeah, like I'm unfamiliar with that. That's not something I've worked with. And one of the engineers there, he actually would step in and he helped me navigate to like one of the answers. And it felt like a really collaborative kind of team effort. And I loved it. I was like, man, this is like the next step. And that's why I say it was very similar to my interview with Babson, and I'll have a whole story on that and how that went. And I had like 7 on-site interviews. It was insane. But ultimately left feeling like, wow, that's like a good team. Like they were there for me. You know, I felt like it was a collaborative thing. And likewise with YETI, it felt like a collaborative thing. It was like, okay, they're sticking their neck out for me. And then I briefly talked about Prisma and Redis and caching data and just, let's see. So some of the questions, obviously examples of showing integrity at work, you know, just kind of tell us about yourself, stuff like that. Examples of how you stay current in your industry. Knowledge on OAuth 2. Let's see what else there was. What are the various React hooks you've used for the current application you're working on? What is the implementation of API integrations you've done? And I talked about GraphQL at Honeydew. I've talked about RESTful APIs and using Swagger Hub at Babson, and then also TRPC as a new one in this application or other kind of toy applications I've modeled with. What are the differences between React and Angular? So I don't have very much experience in Angular, but I do have a very deep experience in Vue at this point. So I talked about different like runtimes and how Vue runs through the code block only one time, where React is constantly running through the code block. So I was able to speak on some of that stuff, or how out of the box Vue has emissions and React does not. I was able to really highlight a lot of experience on the front end there, which was awesome. Here's another question. Have you used any caching mechanisms in a React application? And that's where I talked about Redis and setting and stashing data, and obviously setting, you know, your cache for like a day or an hour, and a little bit of rate limiting I talked about. They asked about what do you use for routing? Which versions of React Router? I talked about how I've used React Router 5, React Router 6, or React Router DOM 5, React Router DOM 6, and then obviously Next.js with their just built-in routing system. It was super easy, you know, with their app directory and pages directory for their APIs and endpoints. And what else did I talk about? Oh, they asked about have I used things like Material UI or Bootstrap. I talked in my experience of using headless UI, Tailwind. I've barely used Material UI, but once you use one or two UI libraries, they're all the same. They asked about state management. Have you used Recoil for state management? I have. Have you used Zustand? I have. And then they obviously asked about Redux, and I talked about how trash Redux is. And then they asked about cloud experience, and I just talked about the S3 buckets and pre-signed URLs that I worked with at Babson for updating Daffodil devices, which were these like fancy dancy science coolers at Babson. They asked about logging. I had no idea what that question meant, so I just told them that. I don't know what that means. I don't know if it was like talking about console logs or AWS, like their logging system or middleware for loggers. I had no idea what they were kind of asking when they asked about logging. And that was kind of it. That was it. That was the interview. And like I said, with the jokes and then like the genuineness of things that I didn't like understand in the interview or maybe didn't, I really thought I walked away like, oh, and then they asked about differences between use memo, use content. And basically they're both going to prevent re-renders. Use memo is going to be for calculated terms, and then use context is going to be for functions, both preventing unnecessary re-renders. Use memo is like Vue's computed function basically. And I don't know. I feel like that's showing a lot of dominance, and they said I don't have the necessary experience was ultimately what they landed on. And I wish I had actually gone through the application intimately and showed them just a few things, and because I maybe they would have made a different decision. Maybe not. Maybe they're correct in their alignment. I don't know, because I see myself as like obviously a little bit newer to this space, but certainly not shying away from the work, not shying away from studying. I'm getting the AWS Cloud Practitioner cert here shortly. That's obviously not the biggest cloud thing, but it's at least getting your feet in the water and showing a pretty seriousness about it. Obviously using custom hooks, having integrations of Prisma, Redis, and capillary collection startup experience with the dermatology company and e-commerce platforms over there. Having used Next, React, Nuxt, Vue, and Angular. Again, not a ton of Angular, but at least enough. It really was like, I don't know. I wish the feedback was a little more granular. If they were like, hey, it was more behavioral, or if it was more something else. Like, I don't know. I just feel like getting called out and saying you don't know enough about React, and I didn't like it. Guys, because I feel like I can, if I don't know something, I feel like I possess the ability to go figure it out. And it was a little bit bumming to hear, because on the way out I literally like left it feeling so good and was like on cloud 9, because I was like, oh my god, I literally just landed that, left feeling so good, and they left kind of with a little bit of a cheeky smile on their face, and the their project manager and their tech lead over there, he said, hope to see you around, and I was like, okay, maybe it did go better than I thought, but I don't know what it is. I don't know if I come across as like too casual. That could be it for some of the experience, right? But yeah, nonetheless, an amazing opportunity, and was just bummed obviously to hear back that news, because it's like this was literally, this is like, you can't, well, you could probably find really talented developers around, but like that's my bread and butter is React and front end development. So it was like, man, golly, guys, talking about mobile responsive design, PWAs, all this other stuff. Speaking of, I did make this a PWA. PWA means progressive web application, and where you can run it locally. So now this is like literally an application on my computer. You can see it down here. And then it's actually also available on the phone. So working on that too. But yeah, I was so like super excited, and I wish it was more of a callback, like, hey, you're almost there, but we just, we needed just a little bit more from you or something. But when they told me that, I was like, man, did I not talk enough about certain other experiences or yeah, I don't know. But having built all these custom components, this bar chart component that's completely custom, this project completion component that monitors the tasks and stuff, I just didn't agree with their assessment. I didn't agree with their assessment, but end of the day, they're still obviously a really, really, really competitive company, really talented, and very, very lucky to have the opportunity that I did. I still don't agree with the assessment. That's just me, but because here I'm using, a ton of server-side rendered frameworks. I'm staying up till 2 a.m. studying Next.js and taking extra courses, doing the extra work. Right now I'm taking a prep course, data structures and algorithm course, an AWS course, working on this, building the YouTube channel, bouncing ideas off, Chester and Angel, and got a good surprise coming up for you guys here in, I think in 2 or 3 weeks. So yeah, just moving though. And I was like, man, because that felt like the little bro thing of like, oh, it's okay, buddy, you'll get there one day. I'm like, guys, I'm here. I'm one of y'all. I'm one of y'all. How would you say that to somebody? Maybe not. Maybe there's more work to be done, and more work is certainly getting done. I'm not shying away from it. So, but that was my experience overall. It was definitely overall good. Yeah, huge shout out to the YETI team for even considering. I think that's an accomplishment in itself. Was a beautiful opportunity. Now, by any chance, if you guys are watching this, shoot me an email. You know what I mean? Let's run it back. The best 2 out of 3. But guys, yeah. So that's ultimately what landed me there. And let me maybe show the resume too that I think got me there too. So let me see. Let's see. Pull it up, and then I'll show you guys the resume that got me a ton of. Oh, I almost don't want to share some of this stuff. I wonder if there's a way to kind of exit this out real quick. Okay, how can I do this? Right? Okay, so we can do this side. Then I think I can do something like this. Hold on. Let's see. Oh, I don't know how this is gonna go, guys. Yeah, never mind. I'm not gonna be able to show the whole resume because I just don't want to show too much personal information out there. I hope you guys understand. But here's some of the resume of just my experience, what I did, what I worked for, who I've worked for, all this stuff, and there's a bunch of skills and logistical stuff on the left side of emails and phone numbers and stuff like that. So yeah, but that's the resume, and yeah, maybe I could show. And there's a few links to some demo projects. But what an amazing experience, what an amazing experience. I'm looking forward to hopefully the next one. I've had interviews now for bigger name companies, PayPal, Apple, and also throw YETI on there. So pretty pumped on that. I do hope to land one of those one day. I think before diving into full entrepreneurial endeavors, that's the end goal, obviously. I think I've voiced that very clearly. But before departing and doing entrepreneurial endeavors, I definitely want to work at like one of those companies first. That's the goal. Just at least for 2 years, maybe something like that. The goal. Boom. See if this project. Sweet, that endpoint's still working. Nice. All right, so because then I'd feel good about hanging my boots up. I feel like a lot of people, they say I don't want to work for one of those companies because of, like, oh, they're so overrated. It's like, are they overrated or could you not get in? For me, I definitely want to get in and then make that decision after, if it's plausible. I think that'd be so awesome. Just see how it goes, see how it works in big tech, and then make the decision to walk away or continue. You never know. So But that was my experience with YETI. This project was huge and pivotal in getting in there. And so same with the resume, the letters of recommendation. I have one from a great mentor of mine, or previous, previous employer. Let me see if I can pull this up for y'all. Obviously that's huge too. Let me pull it up without giving away too much information either. But this is gonna be from Babson as well. From CJ, amazing VP of IT operations. So to whom it may concern, I'm writing this letter of recommendation for Ryan Paglione, who's a front-end software engineer at Babson Diagnostics. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. And just crush it. CJ is the absolute man. His delivery on stuff is amazing. It's unprecedented how he maneuvers and navigates leadership positions and opportunity. Like, the guy's been doing it for a long time, and you could tell. But this is it. Throughout his time at Babson, Ryan demonstrated the adaptability and willingness to learn. He proactively sought out to enhance their skill set and stay up with the latest trends and best practices in front-end development. His curiosity and continuous learning approach greatly benefited our team and the projects they were involved in. Aside from Ryan's technical abilities, he has also proved to be reliable and dependable, always punctual, demonstrated strong work ethics, readily assumed additional responsibilities when required, positive attitude, friendly demeanor, made him a pleasure to work with, and he fostered a positive, collaborative work environment. I wholeheartedly recommend Ryan Paglione for, that's just CJ. Sir, tip my hat to you. That's just, I've read this to the girlfriend. I showed her that. I was like, you won't believe what CJ told me. Because it was just such a beautiful thing. So CJ, if by any chance you're watching this, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. And thank you for everything you've done. But so guys, that's the biggest thing. The resume, kind of a demo project, and then obviously a little bit of experience, and then a letter of recommendation. I actually have 2 letter recommendations. That's one of them, my favorite of the 2. But so definitely that stuff helps, I think. And so looking forward to the next opportunity. The goal is still land at one of those companies just for a bit, just for a bit. Hope to make it happen. I'm studying my tail off, working extra hard, and waking up early, staying up late, trying to get all the certifications and interview prep that I need to get done. Algorithm Sundays coming up next. Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching.